Thank you for staying with us. And very quickly, the question I asked before we went on break was, uh, the politicians moving around, having meetings, alignments, realignments, even those that are former foes right now are beginning to work together because of a common foe that they think that they have. That is the ruling of Progressive Congress led at the national, at the center, by Abdullah Ganduje. But then they are in power at the federal level, of which President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the leader. Now, many persons are jostling for his job, that's the president's job on 2027, and they have not hidden it. Many of them have come out. Some who are in the same party with the president before, the likes of Amici, the likes of as former Rivers State Governor, former Minister of Transport under Muhammadu Buhari. Just 2 years ago, there's Rotimi Amici, and of course, former Kaduna State Governor, two-time Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, former SGA Babachir Lawal, many of them that were just of the APC as recent as 2-3 years ago, since APC was birthed in 2013. Now, they are saying so many things at this time. We have some persons as well from other parties, even Atiku Abubakar, former vice president of the nation and presidential candidate of the PDP in the last election. Many of them have come together to say Tinubu must go. And so they are looking for the party or the way to do that. It has been, Nasir El-Rufai, for example, went to the SDP. And so will the SDP be the new bride? It seems that's not working. It hasn't worked. The ADC as well, it seems not to be working. But now there is a flouting of the new party, if that will fly. It's called All Democratic Alliance, ADA, All Democratic Alliance now. And they have sent the application for registration as a political party to the chairman of INEC, and that has been received as well. You can see that on the screen, 28th of June 2025. That was when it was received. And they said, we respectfully write to the INEC, requesting the registration of association, the Democratic Alliance, ADA. As a political party, this is sequel to the decision taken by the Nigerian National Coalition Group to sponsor association for full registration, yada, yada, yada. Everything was written there. And they said, please find attached the following document, the party logo, flag, depicting the name, acronym and slogan, manifesto, constitution, minutes of meeting, and why they said, while we eagerly await further action from the commission on the next step forward towards attaining our desired goal, please accept the consideration of our highest respect. And that was signed by, Chief Aki Erikes, the pro tem national chairman, and the pro tem national secretary, Abdullahi Musa Elayo. Now, before they got here, there was a committee that was put together, led by Rotimi Amici himself, to work on this particular project of theirs, and they've made the name known, All Democratic Alliance, ADA, if you want to call it together, is ADA. ADA means cutlass in Yoruba land, but I'm not sure that's what this means. But then, the issue is, what is the motive? We know the motive is for power. Or we can assume to say we know the motive is for power. Many of them who don't see eye to eye before are now sitting and are making, plans, and they're strategizing on how to get the APC off, led by the president at the national level. How far can they go with this? The APC, some of their members, at least, let me tell you what Festus Keyamo said, and he said, ADA is a joke. And he said the best that it can be is a coalition, that there can never be a merger. And he said, at best, they are a joke. And these, you can see Namadi Sambo, Atiku Abubakar, many persons who are there. Now, very important question needs to be asked, and I asked earlier, how does this benefit Nigerians? The APC said almost the same thing in the A-days of the PDP when they said they were going to spend at least 50, 60 years in office, and by 2013, the APC was formed, and then by 2015, they booted out the PDP. Since then, the APC has been in power. And almost the same thing is being planned right now. Are we about to have another APC birthed in our faces? And as APC delivered, their promises of, to Nigerians pre-2015, now that the ADA is waving the same flag, giving the Nigerian child the same sweet and lollipop to say, come have it. The better days are ahead. We have with us, joining at this first instance, an analyst and public affairs analyst and human rights activist, Comrade Ayo Ologun. Thank you for joining us, Comrade. Good morning. Comrade, if you can hear me, good morning. All right, we'll try to work on that and have the connection back, because this is what really matters to Nigerians right now. Is this about them? Or it's just some disgruntled characters who want power through them?
Oh, absolutely. Nigerians are not fools. Nigerians are not stupid. Nigerians are watching. So if a group of people think they can just, come up, now some Nigerians will say they think they can just come up and, form a new political party and expect everyone to just, move with them. It doesn't really work like that. What is their goal? What are their ideologies? Okay, what do they stand for? Is it just because they want power? They want to take power from? That's not enough. Just because you don't want Tinubu there, I'm not a fan of Tinubu. Simply because you don't want him there doesn't mean people will follow you. What do you stand for? What are you going to do differently? That's the question. So, like Festus Keyamo has spoken, Festus Keyamo, SAN, he calls it a pedestrian joke. That's what he calls it. 2 years to the election, you are forming a new political party. How far can you go with this? First, they tried to woo, other political parties. They couldn't come up with a merger. They couldn't do that. APC was formed from a merger. They couldn't come up with a merger. They tried the SDP. They had to drop the SDP because, according to some allegations, that the SDP is being sponsored by Mr. President. So many allegations flying here and there. So they had to drop SDP. They went to the ADC. So we thought finally they will come up with the ADC as their umbrella for the coalition. But unfortunately, now they've dropped the ADC and they've decided to come up with a fresh political party, the ADA, All Democratic Alliance. He said it's there is cutlass in Yoruba, also in Igbo language is the first daughter, Ada, so it means different things. So how far can they really go with this new political party? Some are saying it's just, a group of northern elites who are coming together to form this. So do they really stand, are they really speaking for the whole Nigeria, for the entire Nigerians? That's one question. Then why should, the big question, the million-dollar question here is, why should Nigerians believe them? That's a question. Yeah. You're forming a new party now. Why should we believe you as Nigerians? What would you do differently? That's a big question. So it's not just about the name, not just about the name. I know people want something new, but again, what are they going to offer?
Well, all of these questions will be answered by our guest. Ours here is to look into these issues and ask the questions from our guest. And so maybe they might have answers. And of course, Nigerians watching as well. What is your take on the formation of the new party, All Democratic Alliance? And where you check the parties, later, where they applied for registration from INEC, by INEC rather, you can see the party logo there. You have the red color, the green color, and the blue color. If you can have that later put up. And of course, you can see on the green part, you have corn.
I was going to point that out. Exactly. That corn, the image of a corn there is just a subtle way to make mockery of the president. Because corn in Yoruba is agbado. The famous speech. A party chieftain was saying, so you are even trying, I'll pull that up again when the next user even said it, that these guys are not serious, that you're still making mockery of the president's speech using agbado in your logo. I'll try to pull that up. Let's see if we can also have that.
We'll do all of that, but that will be after now. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back. All right, thank you for staying with us. And we now have Comrade Ayologun with us. Comrade, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Did you hear my question before the line went off?
No, I did not.
Okay, very quickly. What I'm saying is, there is ADA right now being put up and waiting to be registered. They have sent their letters, those persons flouting the ADA. And, some of them could be identified. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Rotimi Amechi, Nasir El-Rufai, and all of these other persons. And they are coming to say, this is our baby, INEC, please register. Now, the questions Nigerians have been asking is, to what end is this? Is it just another APC that is about to be birthed? Remember, in 2013, a merger was formed. But it seems on this particular one, we are not really seeing a merger, just individuals coming up to say, this is what we are going to use to wrestle power from Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, how far can they go? And very importantly, and a very salient question is this: how does this better the lot of Nigerians? Are they doing this for Nigerians? Because APC promised the same thing in 2013, and instead the PDP have failed. They are coming with a new vigor and new solutions. Have they really done that work? Now that we're having another party in our faces being flouted, these are the issues. What is your impression of this move so far?
Well, it is very important to clearly state that it's within the right of individuals, as guaranteed by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to associate, freedom of association. And where such freedom of association is moved on to wanting to form a political party, it is still within the right of these individuals to so do. But I must also say, the circumstances we had in 2013 is different from what we are seeing now. You will recall that in 2013, what we had was more of a revolution, kind of. It was a movement that was battered by disgruntled, in quote now, disgruntled politicians. But luckily for them, it had widespread acceptability, and it crossed across even the existing political party. Then you will remember the new PDP. Then we have the entire platform of the CPC. Then we had some faction of the ANPPS at that time, and of course all of these parties with the gladiators in Tinubu, Buhari, and the rest of them came together. That party was bettered, and because Nigerians were disgruntled, but unfortunately lacked focus at that time, that coalition put through. But you see, this present one, for me, is not going to go far. The reason is because Nigerians have been able to see through the individuals who are coming together to form this party. And unfortunately, many of them do not have the credibility and the acceptance that Nigerians would desire in a would-be leader. And I must also say this: the Nigerians are wiser, and they will not take rash and harsh decisions like it was taken in 2015 that has possibly led us to where we are now. And another hurdle they have to face is that this time around, unlike Goodluck Jonathan, they are facing a thoroughbred politicians who has been part of them, who knew the schemings that got the APC into power, who knew whatever shenanigans were done under the table, whatever dealings were done behind closed doors that brought the APC into power. He knows and was part of all of it. So it will be difficult to use the same strategies of 2013 through 2015 on this same man. But like you rightly said, in all of these, what is the interest of the people?
Exactly.
I should say this, that politics, ordinarily, and please mark the word ordinarily, should be in the interest of the common good of every citizen. Unfortunately, Nigerian politicians over the time have shown that association and political party membership is driven by desire to grab power to no intent of service. That's why we say that political parties have become ordinary tools for power grabbing. And so when people form political parties with the intent of grabbing power and not service to the people or wanting to make the life of the people better, then we such in Nigerian politicians do not seem to be different. What differentiates them is the nomenclature of the political parties that they seem to belong to. And that is why I said the other time that the people are wiser. The people of Nigeria have known now that these politicians are not different after all. Mm-hmm. If what we were in 2010 to 2013 under Jonathan, and then the APC came and promised us heaven and earth, and only for them to get to office. And the same thing that they campaigned against, the same thing upon which premise they promised a new life for Nigerians, is what they are doing, and even doing it more terribly than we witnessed under Jonathan. Then Nigerians have become wiser. They've become clear that after all, these politicians are not different. And whatever they do in the name of political party association is not with the intent of the
all right, Comrade Logun, I believe you're still with us. Your line is beginning to break up. But Comrade, can you hear me clearly? I believe you're still with us.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
absolutely.
I can hear you.
All right. Looking at the new political party, the All Democratic Alliance, you've just re-echoed most of the things I said at the beginning of the show. Why should Nigerians take them serious? For instance, the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, has called them a pedestrian joke. He's saying that the ADA cannot pull off what the APC did in 2013-2014, that they cannot do that. Comrade Logun, let's take a look at this coalition, this ADA, for instance. When Tinubu and Nasir El-Rufai came out, they wanted to form a coalition. They failed in getting political measures. They failed in getting political parties to merge for their purpose. They couldn't achieve that. Two, they also failed in getting a political party to serve as their platform. They tried the SDP first. They couldn't get the SDP. Then they tried the ADC. We actually thought that finally they will be launching on the platform of the ADC. But for some reasons, some analysts will say majorly as a result of fears of litigation arising from existing members, they decided that fine, they are not going to use the ADC anymore. Now they are pushing forward the ADA. The question is, like you rightly said, Nigerians are not stupid. Nigerians are not fools anymore. Nigerians are watching. So why, again, Comrade Logun, should Nigerians take them seriously? An ex-user, a social media user, posted something on X, and I'll quickly like to take a look at that, Comrade Logun. This is by Petra Akinti Oyegbule, who posted this on X, posting the logo of the new political party, the All Democratic Alliance, and saying, when their failure became glaring, and final, they will accuse P-BAT, that's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, of infiltrating their party. Meanwhile, they are telling voters, they are a bunch of jokers just faffing around by their identity. I mean, look at their logo. You're here to ensure justice for all, but your colloquial imagery is reminiscent of a campaign slur against APC, Agbado. If you look at that logo very well, you see the picture of that Agbado right there. Are you serious at all? That's what she asked. You are our political brothers, our Agbado. That's according to that post. ADA, Alliance dead on arrival. What do you make of this? Look at the logo right there. You can see the picture of a corn, which in Yoruba language is interpreted Agbado, which was actually a campaign slur against the APC. When Mr. President gave that famous speech talking about, oh, Agbado, is it Agbado, is it? So what do you make of all this, Comrade Logun? Do you really think, just according to this social media user, that Nigerians at this point will take the ADA seriously?
There is no way the Nigerians can take the ADA very seriously. Look, that logo of theirs, a corn, you will remember, I think there was a political party that used it not quite long ago, maybe APGA or something. There was a political party, the party under which Jim Ibrahim contested as governor in Ondo State, then I've forgotten now, used that same logo. I mean, that same logo as theirs. So there's nothing new. It's more of a reincarnation of what it used to be. And like I've often said, when you talk about coalition, what you do is to look at the antecedents of individuals who are coming together to form this new political party. Take it or leave it. One of the things that the APC enjoyed when forming the coalition in 2013 was because of an individual like Buhari, who was an epitome of integrity, in quotes now, as at that time, before the fell off. And then a Tinubu who deliberately stayed out of contesting elections, and people who were reminiscing about the little he was able to do in Lagos. It is the credibility of these individuals and a few others, coupled with the propaganda machinery engendered and driven by Lai Mohammed, that brought the coalition into place. But obviously, these new players don't have such credibility. Look, the only time I ventured into politics, which I regret so, was the CPC. I was part of the merger process because I was a member of the APC, the CPC, through Pastor Bakari. And I was able to have several meetings with an El-Rufai as a stakeholder at that time. So I know who an El-Rufai is. And if I'm to speak off air about who an El-Rufai is, I'm likely not going to recommend even the worst of my enemies to be in alliance with such a man. Then you look at Rotimi Amechi, who until 2 years ago was a minister under the same APC, led by President Buhari at that time. And all of a sudden, this individual who enjoys so much largesse, this is one person that has lived his life on our commonwealth. He left youth service to join politics, became a member of the House of Assembly, became a speaker, became chief of staff, became governor for 2 terms, and then became a minister. And all of a sudden, this man, who was not able to use all of these opportunities to turn around the fortune of Rivers State, all of a sudden is the one telling us that Nigerians are not in good hands. So the question is, how good were the hands when he was in the saddle as a member of the ruling party from governorship to minister? So that tells you that that man is simply uncomfortable with being out of power in just 2 years and is looking for all means to get back into power. Don't forget that he contested the presidency under the APC at the primary level with the incumbent president. Then you go on to an article that has over the years not respected the unwritten agreement of power rotation, who Nigerians have tagged a president perpetual, someone who has tried to become president at every opportunity, either when he's supposed to or when he's supposed not to. So these are the individuals coming together to form the new party, and they do not enjoy the service or the membership of individuals that have whatever modicum of integrity. The Nigerians can say, oh, maybe if this person is part of them, we can even think they are serious. So you have a deficiency of integrity and record of service around the individuals coming together for this coalition. And that's why I said Nigerians aren't stupid. They know that these ones are not different from the ones we are complaining about. These ones have nothing better to offer. They just want to use the machinery of the formation of the new political party to grab power. So Nigerians will not commit the same mistake of 2013, because apart from Buhari, it seems we are again and again and again falling deeper into a mess.
All right.
Maybe if with the exception of Buhari, people are beginning to say, perhaps if we have allowed Jonathan to continue as bad as they presented him to us, maybe his reforms will have been yielding fruits and maybe things will have been better. Then Buhari came and dragged us back by tens of years. Then we have a Tinubu who is also not living up to expectation and what is expected of him as president, coupled with the fact that the things he promised are not the things he was doing, and the things he stood against, and the things he's bringing to fall. So now that we're beginning to see, maybe not too bright, but at least a seeming projection of a future that might be bright, irrespective of the political shenanigans. So you think Nigerians will leave that again and fall into the end of those that are likely going to make things worse? It's not likely to happen. That's why I call them leaders. They came from alliance, they tried SDP, like you said, and the likes of the likes of the presidential candidate of the SDP, Wale Adebayo, obviously a senior lawyer and a sound mind. They could predict the legal order ahead of them. They have jumped ship. They tried ADC. It looked like it's not going to be to their advantage. Now they are coming to ADA, which people have called that they are cutlass. Then you can be sure that Nigerians will never take this individual seriously.
All right. Thank you. Quite interesting, you know, when those letters are put together, the ADA, and in Yoruba, it turns to something else. You know, either the Ada, which is cutlass, will be used for farming or for war or for whatever, is another thing. Now you made some points, and you talked about if those persons have the clout, if they have the, you know, the following, you know, that APC leaders, some of their founding members and fathers had, Tinubu's of the world across the south, you know, the court following of Buhari across the north, and you might want to say, okay, letter for letter, like they say in football, player for player, role for role. Do we have people with that here? But some will say, hey, comrade, it's the people that makes the party. All right, and these are some of the things. We understand we have a second guest right now. He's a comrade as well, civil activist, almost the same CV, you know, with the comrade Ayologun. Comrade Olufemi Lawson joins us virtually. Comrade Lawson, thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Please hang in there. This question is for Mr. Ayologun because he started it. And if these people have the belief, you know, of having so many persons. Now, let me bring something to your notice. In this particular lineup of these persons pushing for ADA right now, we have Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Pito B, you know, some said, we can't really confirm, John Odige Oyegun, Rauf Aregbesola, Nasir El-Rufai, Aminu Tambuwal, Abubakar Malami, Babachi Lawan, Uche Secondus, Osita Chidoka, and Honorable Nena Ukeje. There is a report that those were the people that were at the meeting when the decision to register ADA was taken. So you are saying all of these persons now, knowing if actually that point that Peter Obi is part of them is anything to go by, all of these people in their own right, you are saying they are not a match for the current APC lineup that we have. And number two, very importantly, is the fact that you are saying Nigerians are making smarter move, in quote, you know, wiser move right now. They will possibly make a smarter and a wiser move. Are you sure with the recent defections we've been having, very high caliber, you know, office holders moving towards the same APC, are they still non-Nigerian? So two questions, role for role, players for player. You think this lineup doesn't cut to be a formidable force to give APC a run for their money? You don't think so?
Of course, it's not about the thinking. It's the fact that they are not a match for the current lineup. Just like you rightly said, as it's used in football, player for player, star for star. Who in the lineup of the people that are pushing for registration of ADA can match the lineup of the formation of the APC after the time that APC was registered in 2013? What is the measure of followership? What is the medicrum of integrity that these individuals parade? Let's take them one by one. What does an Atiku Abubakar?
This connection, we'll try to establish connection. Comrade Olufemi Lawson, are you with us, sir?
At the moment, right. Even in the PDP, where he's trying to pull out from, is being seen as static by the perpetual.
I think we're having some issues.
Can I go on?
Okay. Comrade Ologun, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can I go on?
Oh, yes, please. Please land on your thought.
All right, so I was saying that player for player, star for star. Let's take a look. At the time the APC was formed in 2013, we have a court followership of Buhari in the north. We have a court-like followership and belief of an individual like Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the south at that time. In the present team, let's take the arrowhead and Atiku Abubakar. Even those within the PDP that is trying to pull out from, see him as one individual that have played the biggest role in the destruction of that party by his perpetual ambition. Then take an El-Rufai. In all the years that El-Rufai was governor of Kaduna State, he practically divided that state along the lines of southern Kaduna and northern Kaduna. And I tell you that if an El-Rufai should walk the street of Kaduna at this moment, is likely to be stoned. So what is it bringing to the table? What is the modicum of integrity and acceptance and followership of an Rauf Aregbesola in Osun State, where he is said to be from? Then you go ahead and talk about an Uche Secondus. We know the role that Uche Secondus played in the destruction of what PDP has become as at this time. And of course, the issue of court cases hanging on his neck when it comes to the issue of money purportedly embezzled under Goodluck Jonathan. So if you put all this together at the barrages that is hanging on their neck, how do you want to consider that or put that side by side with the players that the APC had as at the time of formation in 2013, and of course those who are joining the party for whatever reasons day by day? Is it funding you want to talk about? What is the measure of fund in the hand of these individuals that are posing for the registration of ADA compared to those who are daily joining the APC at this moment? Don't get it wrong. I'm not saying APC is the best thing to ever happen to Nigerians. Of course, it can never be. Nigerians are biting their teeth now. Now to the second question, you talked about Nigerians being wiser. I said it clearly, that Nigerians are possibly regretting the choice of APC by which they neglected and abandoned the PDP under a Goodluck Jonathan. And then we had the Buhari who took us back by years, tens of years, in these 8 years of governance. Now we have the Tinubu who is now standing for everything that is stood against, who is making promises unfulfilled. But then, bad as it is, Nigerians will say, there still seems to be a little light that can be seen, a ray of hope that can be seen. Maybe if it is sustained, it can bring about some reforms that can take Nigerians to where they intend to be. So you think Nigerians will now forfeit that ray of hope, not forgetting rather, what befell them when they abandoned the Jonathan in 2013 and 2015 for what we had in the Buhari? You think Nigerians will now become so foolish now to jump ship again and put their destiny into the hand of these jokers? Is not going to be possible. If Nigerians are going to make a different choice at all, it's not going to be in the choice. The choice will never be an ADA. Maybe a Messiah would come between now and 2027, but I can assure you that the Messiah that Nigerians are looking for, the hope is not in the ADA as it's being planned at the moment.
All right, Comrade Ologun. Comrade Lawson, are you still with us?
Yes.
Okay, all right, Comrade Lawson. Looking at the new political party being pushed now by the coalition, the ADA, the All Democratic Alliance. Comrade Ologun has said it all, that Nigerians are not really stupid. Nigerians are wiser now, and they won't go back, they won't fall into that trap again, just like Nigerians did in 2015. But let's take a critical look at this, Comrade Lawson. What options do Nigerians really have? We've talked about voter apathy in Nigeria. How many people come out for elections? Now, after all the pomp and pageantry, according to Festus Keyamo, was making mockery of the ADA. After all the noise, after all the pomp and pageantry, look at what they came up with, the ADA. So, according to some Nigerians, the coalition actually failed in trying to, have a measure of political parties. They clearly failed in that. They also failed in trying to get a platform to run on. Now they've decided to form a new political party, the ADA. Why should Nigerians believe in them? But the question is this, Comrade Lawson, what options do Nigerians really have? That's the big question. What options? What better options? And looking at the ADA, Comrade Lawson, do you think that this ADA can even stand the PDP, even with all their shenanigans, even with all the mess in their party? Do you think this ADA can stand the PDP? Do you think ADA can stand the LP, the Labour Party? Do you think ADA can stand NMPP, not to talk of the ruling APC?
But to start with, you see, the idea of if ADA will be capable of standing or matching the PDP, Labour Party, NMPP, talk less of APC, to me, it's not even it, because ADA is just another attempt by some persons who are majorly of the PDP to rename the PDP. What you are witnessing as the attempt to register a new political party, which is still not, ADA is not yet a political party, it's still a proposal. the idea is that people who think the PDP has become so moribund and the name is no longer marketable are now trying to rechristen the PDP, and call it ADA. Because if you look at it carefully, who are the promoters of ADA? If you take out Rauf Aregbesola, who is allegedly a member of that coalition, every other person named has been part of the formation of this proposed political party are PDP members. So it is just an attempt by PDP gladiators to come back to power through another name, not necessarily a new political party founded on a new ideology or a new principle. The whole idea of coalition, if you have followed, since they started the coalition, the so-called coalition, has been about removing Bola Tinubu. The coalition, to the best of my knowledge, has not in any way addressed Nigerians. They've not spoken about what they intend to do to address the issue of removal or not of fuel subsidy. No member of the coalition has talked about the state of education in Nigeria. No member of the coalition has talked about the state of infrastructures in Nigeria. No member of the coalition is talking about insecurity in Nigeria. Every meeting of the coalition has been about removing Bola Tinubu as president. So for me, it is just a rechristening attempt of the PDP in order to buy power again from Nigerians. But as regards options, Nigerians have options. And the options Nigerians have is not in any political party. Because if you look at the political parties, call it PDP, APC, ADA, NPP or whatever, they are clearly, birds of same feather, people without clear-cut ideological differences. These political parties are all products of the same tendency. For instance, if you look at between 1999 and now, the average Nigerian politician, apart from persons like Asiwaju Bola Tinubu and very few others, have virtually traveled around all the existing political structures in Nigeria, Buhari from ANPP to CPC to APC, at some point tactically supporting PDP candidates, Atiku from PDP to APC, now going to ADA or PDP, ADA, whatever they call it. So there's usually no ideological difference. So for the option that Nigerians have is the option of choosing credible candidates irrespective of the political platform that such person is coming from.
Comrade Lawson. Sorry to cut in here. Does it lie within the power of Nigerians to choose a credible candidate? That's the problem. How can Nigerians choose a credible candidate?
It does. Nigerians can do it. And 2023 election has given a pointer to the power that our people have as Nigerians and to the extent with which, when the people are determined, they can go. Let me give a typical example. Since we started voting in the history of Lagos since 1999, there has never been a time that the governing party in Lagos State, the ADAC and APC, has ever lost election until 2023, when the poster boy of Lagos politics, where the godfather of Lagos politics, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, was on the ballot, contesting for the presidency of this country, and he lost election in Lagos State. Not to PDP, not to ANPP, but to a relatively unknown Labour Party, because of who? Because of his candidate, Mr. Peter Obi. That did not stop there. That same Peter Obi went ahead and won election in states that have been traditionally won by the PDP since 1999, Benue, Plateau, Taraba. You understand? And some other states in the southeast that no other party has ever won, even councillorship state. A state like Enugu, now some other states. Mr. Peter Obi won elections in those states using the platform of Labour Party. That tells you the belief that those people who voted Peter Obi had in his candidacy. Not in Labour Party. What is Labour Party? To the average Nigerian, to the average electorate, are they aware of what Labour Party is? Does Labour Party have any political structure or infrastructure or institution to win an election even in a local government in Lagos? Not less of winning in the overall election in Lagos for the presidential election where the political leader of Lagos was a candidate on the ballot. So it tells you that if they are credible candidates, Nigerians have options. They have choice to make. Okay. But if it's about options in these political parties, I would say that there are no options because between PDP, APC, ADA, call it whatever name.
So Nigerians, Comrade Lawson, so Nigerians should focus more on candidates and not political parties.
Yes, yes, at this point. Yeah.
All right. Gentlemen, please hang in there because I see many questions to ask, asking about the profile of these, people, politicians, bigwigs, going around canvassing for support. Another individual is former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido, who said any coalition, any opportunity, any group that can, or anything that can be done to make Bola Ahmed Tinubu, go back to Lagos into 2027, he will be part of it. Now, many questions have, arise from that to say why is he doing that? Because there's the North and the South, conversation already on this will be answered after that. Thank you very much for staying with us. And we have two comrades with us. They are both political and public affairs analysts, and of course, civil rights activists as well, Comrade Ayologun and Comrade Olufemi Lawson. Thank you, gentlemen. Now, I'll continue with you right now, Comrade Olufemi Lawson. Now, a certain Lamido, has said that that Sule Lamido, let me quote what he said on these, project remove Tinubu from 2027. I'm part of any arrangement, no matter the nomenclature or name, to remove the current government of incompetency, of insecurity, or of dividing the Nigerian family between North and South. I will be part of any arrangement, any chemistry, any configuration, whatever you may call it, if he's going to remove this government that is on autopilot. And when he was asked about the ADA, he said, what you see, don't panic. I don't panic. I walk with my eyes wide open. And he now spoke on some of the things. Today in Nigeria, we have a government that is dividing Nigerians along North and South, using the institutions of the state to manipulate and coerce the opposition. That is Sule Lamido for you. Do you think there's any substance, in what he is saying, or is just another politician playing politics?
There's nothing new in what Alhaji Sule Lamido has said. Alhaji Sule Lamido is one of the senior citizens of the PDP. He's been governor, he's been minister, he's been everything in PDP. But for me, I listened to his interview, and just like I said earlier, this project is all about, Tinubu must go. It is not about the current challenges that we are facing as Nigerians. These are merely people whose main source of livelihood.
Sorry, Comrade Lawson, he talked about weaponizing ethnicity, institutions to stifle the opposition, insecurity, poverty, and all of those things.
Is Tinubu the first president to weaponize ethnicity? If any president will be accused of weaponizing ethnicity, promoting the division that we have in Nigeria today, and even institutionalizing poverty, it was the president that came from this same north, Buhari, who for 8 years kept mute in the face of a glaring attempt by a very insignificant, ethnic minority, the Fulanis, to divide Nigerians, colonize parts of Nigerians, and we are still suffering from the consequences of the 8 years of misgovernance of Buhari today. These same political elites from the north, including Atiku Abubakar, were all muted throughout the 8 years of Buhari. They looked the other way as if nothing was happening. They looked the other way when Nigerians were being killed, by Fulani herders from Benue to Plateau to the south and every other part of the country. There's no president that have divided Nigerians along ethnic and religious line more than the presidency of Buhari in this country. People like Lamido behaved as if they were not around then. So I am not, of course, supporting this president or any agenda that seeks to divide us as a people. That nonetheless, we cannot, for the sake of political correctness or attempt to desperately, hijack power, begin to paint narratives as if such have never existed. We have lived with the antics of politicians. There's nothing that the Tinubu government is doing today that is alien to me as a Nigerian, especially when you look at how PDP governed this country and what PDP chairman had the audacity on national TV to tell us that the PDP will rule for 60 years. It is in this same country that governors were impeached with 7 members of the House of Assembly. It is in this same country under PDP, when Lamido is a leader, that impunity was the order of the day. Nigerians' rights were violated. We were detained even under a democracy because we were challenging the government. So there's something new that the Tinubu administration is doing. So if we are talking about a change, it must be an holistic change from the current order that seems not to be able to differentiate between PDP and PDP and ADA and whatever they call it, to one that clearly defines a pro-people, a pro-masses, government. A government that will take the interest of the people as a priority, a government that will be driven by the interests of Nigerians, a government that when Nigerians say we don't want subsidy removal, the government will listen. A government that when Nigerians say this is our priority, not this government that is, like Siamese twin, PDP today, APC tomorrow. People were elected on the platform of PDP a few months ago and now in APC. Are you telling me that's an ideology? In Akwa Ibom, they voted PDP. The governor has jumped ship. Now on the plane of APC, Delta, the same thing. Is that the kind of option that Nigerians will be weighing? So people like Sule Lamido are only people who go and look at people like Sule Lamido, people like Rotimi Amici, people like Rauf Aregbesola, Atiku Abubakar. Apart from being in politics since 1999, what other profession, what other job have you ever seen them done? Amechi was from Dr. Dilip's hospital where he was PA. He came to the government house as PA, then got elected into the House of Assembly, spent 8 years as Speaker, became governor for 8 years, then left, became minister for 7 years. This is the only first time that Rotimi Amici is unemployed, and that he has to get employment by all means by being in government. Atiku Abubakar, governor-elect, 99, became vice president, 8 years, from them contesting election and election. Rauf Aregbesola, commissioner in Lagos for 8 years, became governor of Osun. After governor of Osun, became minister, now unemployed. Look at the category of Nasir Rufai, BPE, minister, governor, unemployed now. So this is why these characters are talking about Tinubu must go. It is not because they love Nigerians or they want, or they have an alternative.
All right.
That can move Nigeria forward.
All right, Comrade Lawson. Coming back to you, Comrade Ologun. It seems you both agree on one point, just like the Twitter, there's an ex-user said here, describe the new political alliance as an alliance on dead on arrival. Alliance dead on arrival. That's the acronym used by the ex-user right there that we displayed earlier on. Called it an alliance dead on arrival. Comrade Ologun, you've talked about someone like Rotimi Amici, who has been very lucky. He had his opportunity, like you said, left NYSC, got into politics. He was very young. He was a very young man when he got into the Rivers State House of Assembly. He became speaker. He was there for 8 years, then governor, then minister. So he actually had it good. He was privileged to hold such positions. He started at a young age. What has he done with it? Comrade Ologun, coming back, let's look at someone like Nasiru El-Rufai now. Since Comrade Lawson has talked about Sule Lamido, let's look at Nasiru El-Rufai. Yes, someone who claims to be smart and all that. Now, he has left the APC. He actually decamped to the SDP. Now we have the ADA. He said it's not just about jumping ship from one party to another. So what becomes of Nasiru El-Rufai? So definitely he has to decamp from SDP again to the ADA. And he thinks Nigeria, do you really think Nigeria will have that faith in him to just be moving with Nasiru El-Rufai wherever he chooses to move to, just to actualize his goals or the betterment of Nigeria, like he claims? Comrade Logun, are you with us?
Earlier on, that all of this. Yes, I'm with you.
Oh, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Please go ahead.
All right. You were talking about the personality of an El-Rufai, and I think I did mention the fact that of all the politicians that are parading as pushers or backers of the yet to be registered ADA, I was privileged to know El-Rufai in the days of the CPC, and I have my personal opinion of him, which do not matter in this discussion anyway. But I always say this, and this has always been what I'm known for. I judge people and I ask people to be judged by their antecedents. So if you are talking about an El-Rufai, what are his antecedents? What do Nigerians know about him? No doubting the fact that El-Rufai is one person from whom you cannot take away smartness and pseudo-intellectualism. No doubt about that. He's smart, he's wise, he's clever, in quotes now. But when you talk about character and antecedents, what do we know of an El-Rufai? We remember how controversial he was as the head of the BPE. We also remember how controversial a minister he was as the minister of the FCT under President Olusegun Obasanjo. We also remember who he was as governor of Kaduna. This was a genocide of the Southern Kaduna.
All right.
He practically head-on supervised the demolition of whatever it was called Christianity or Southern Kaduna dwellers. You also remember the accusations against him of the role he played, allegedly, in importation of those who are the troublers of Nigeria at this time when coalition was being made to unseat Jonathan. You will remember that there were serious, very strong allegations against how he was part of those who negotiated, those who from the J Republic, from the rest of them, which is today what we are battling with as insurgency, which has not been investigated. You will also remember the role that he played under the Buhari administration. Now the question would be, if you recall, he was one of the people that were taken to the Chatham House, and he was one of the brains that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was taking around as an aspirant then, or as a candidate of the APC. It was the last election, 2003 election. And then when we wonder, what happened? What did Tinubu find out all of a sudden that made it impossible for an El-Rufai to become Minister of the Federal Republic as he was practically promised during the campaign? That means as an individual, no matter how chameleonic you tend to be, you will always be found out at some point, which means the real character of an El-Rufai must have been found out by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu or those around him, and they have shot him and put him behind the gates, which is what he's fighting now, to want to do everything possible to unseat a Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So if you put all of this together, Nigerians aren't stupid, Nigerians aren't blind, Nigerians are not, they've not lost track of history, they've not lost their memory, not to know that if we are to judge an El-Rufai by his antecedents, is this the man that will deliver to us the future that we desire?
Comrade Ayologun.
Is it the kind of man that can deliver the future?
Sorry, I have to butt in here, sir.
Intent.
Comrade Ayologun.
They are put in the hand of an El-Rufai.
Comrade Ayologun, if you can hear me,
I'm with you.
Please hold on, sir. Just for a minute. Comrade Olufemi Lawson, are you still with us?
Yes.
All right, I understand you must go now, but just for 10 seconds before we come back to Comrade Ayologun. Recently, the president was, seen in a video where he said, whatever opposition, whatever coalition anybody is doing right now is dead on arrival. In 10 seconds, because you must go, do you see this ADA as being dead on arrival? No impact at all?
Well, for me, the ADA is just, like I told you, it's just an attempt to rechristen the PDP. I would have expected that, a people serious about challenging the present status quo will go and strengthen the PDP, as the case may be. But that nonetheless, we must remember that there was something like APC prior to 2013. So it may not be dead on arrival because it's a democracy and it allows for participation. But let us wait and see where this train will actually head to. But for me, I don't see any life in it because it is not a party that is coming on the premise of a new ideology or a promise of change like APC did in 2013. This is purely a Tinubu must go, train. Right. And I don't know what other promises they are coming to make to Nigeria.
Very much. Olufemi Lawson, public affairs analyst, and of course, an analyst. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right. Comrade Ayologun, I apologize. You may please go ahead with your thought.
So I was saying that you were talking, the question posed to me was about Ade-Rufai. So I was saying that if all of those things I've mentioned about the personality of Malam El-Rufai, his antecedents and the things that can be recorded against his name, and the fact that he was one of the people that sold this present administration to us, only to be shot out of the camp and put behind the gate, then Nigerians will not be so stupid. Nigerians will not lose their mind. They will not lose sense of history and memory to know that such a man cannot save us. Such a man cannot deliver to us a future that we so much desire. Such a man cannot give to us a future that we so much dream of. So if Ade-Rufai is going to be the yardstick by which to measure the intention to register the political party called ADA, then you can be sure that this is a coalition or this is an intention that offers no good.
All right, Comrade Ologun, these men, these big wigs who are behind this coalition, talking about Nasir El-Rufai, Rotimi Amechi, and Atiku Abubakar, these are strong politicians. They've been in the game for so long. So the question is it that they are not in touch with the reality on ground in Nigeria right now? Because they've said it over and over again categorically that they are going to chase out Tinubu from office. And just like Comrade Lawson said before he leaves, the only thing they have going for them is that they just want to grab power from Tinubu. They are not coming forward with any new ideology. Unlike the APC that came then and promised Nigeria, heaven on earth, like you said, promised change. Their sole goal here, their sole purpose is to grab power from the APC. So the question is, Comrade Ologun, do you think these men are not in touch with reality, or for want of a better word, do you really think some of them might be becoming delusional, not considering Nigerians and just, being blinded by their own goals and ambitions to believe that Nigerians will simply follow them wherever they go?
There is no doubting the fact that these politicians are very, and I use that word very in capital, very delusional. They are very assumptuous of who they think they are, because of the fact that people around them still sing their praises, people around them still make them feel, oh, they are the best thing that will ever happen after Gege bread. They are so delusional that they believe they have the people around them. Let's take them one by one. I talked about El-Rufai. Let El-Rufai walk the streets of Kaduna and see if he will not be stoned, despite the fact that he was an 8-time governor. If there is no serious mobilization done, let him just take a stroll across the street and see what becomes of him. Let Atiku Abubakar go through the street of Abuja without mobilizing crowd and see what will become of him as an individual. So much touted Rauf Aregbesola, apart from his Scott-like followership of the Omoluabi caucus, what is the acceptance level in Osun at the moment without depending on the existing political party or the ruling party? Let's look at Anuche Secondus. Can Anuche Secondus walk the street of Port Harcourt and he will be hailed. Do people even still remember if he even exists or what he stands for? So these politicians are simply living on past glory. They are so much engrossed in ego. They are so much delusional that what they saw, what they experienced when they are in office, they believe that such love is still what they enjoy. And they are forgetting that the ultimate power of deciding who leads lies with the people. Unfortunately, the people are beginning to be wiser than the cold drum that they seem to have put them while they were in office. Nigerians are becoming wiser by education through this medium and many other medium that look, politicians aren't better than another. We remember all the promises of change made to us by Tinubu when he was coming in over 2 years ago. Is it not the same fuel subsidy that he condemned under Jonathan, and one of the tools that were used to unseat Jonathan? Was that not the same thing that he came with less than an hour into his administration? Oh, what happened to the state police that is so much supported before he came into office? Has he been able to deliver that in 2 years? Insecurity that he promised he was going to eradicate, what effort has he made? Has his effort yielded fruit? And Nigerians still not dying like they do not matter? Oh, you talk about federalism that himself and the likes of the and this same Erufai were mouthing when they were in the opposition. Now that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is in office, how much of federalism has he been able to do in giving evidence to the people? So they are forgotten that ultimately people will judge them by promises unfulfilled. People will judge them by the failures of while they are in office. And the people will begin to look for an alternative. Unfortunately, that alternative seems not to be in the limelight now. And I think I can only hope that there will be an alternative ahead of 2027. But definitely, these individuals coming together to pretend like they love Nigerians do not love us. And we know, as a people, that they do not love us. They are only looking for tools to which to grab power at all costs. If by now you are thinking of forming another political party or a coalition or whatever it is called, and you are not speaking to the need of the people, you are not trying to carry the people along, you are not making your movement a pro-people movement by which it is driven by the majority of the masses. If what you are doing is simply based on an alliance between old foxes, just to ensure that one of them who seems not to no longer look at their side is removed from office, is the agenda, then it's going to fail. Any attempt now, any move now that is not pro-people, that is not driven by the common good, but is not driven by the commoners, will fail. What Nigerians need now is not another nomenclature, it's not another change of individuals and old folks in the game leaving office and coming back. What Nigerians need is the true change and an evolution, kind of.
All right. Now, there are some things that, looking at the Sule Lamido aspect, and he has been on, Tinubu's matter, the coalition thing, Tinubu must go, this narrative right now. In fact, at the weekend on a program, it took a swipe at President Tinubu's June 12 credibility to say maybe he was an active participant for the struggle. And he said, I find Tinubu's rhetoric highly entertaining. The way it dramatizes his role in Nigeria's democracy. Luckily, we are all alive. We are all there. Tinubu only became relevant after Abacha took over. Before then, he was just a party secretary. With all due respect, he was part of those who supported Babangida and opposed June 12. His mother organized the Lagos market women to support Babangida. And he went further to say, when Babangida faced resistance, Ayu, then Senate President, conveyed a meeting in Benin to affirm support for June 12. Babangida was angry and replaced him. People like Tinubu only became activists after Abacha. Nadeko was not about democracy. It was about opposing Abacha. Tinubu and others fled the country. We stayed and fought Abacha. I was detained. The real fighters were those who stayed. Nadeko came after the fight. They inherited the product. We were not part, but were not part of the process. Now, this Sule Lamido speech that interview right now, do you still see it as the part of the plan, possibly grand plan, to just make the man look bad, or is an attempt for him to rewrite history? You are part of the struggle yourself in some kind of way. What do you make of this swipe that Lamido has just taken at Tinubu, especially his June 12 credibility?
It's not a swipe. It's an history that cannot be erased. And like I do say, look, one of the reasons why we fall into the hand of politicians or their attempt to rewrite history is because we don't read, we don't dig, we don't research. Sonny Lamido is one politician that I have so much respect for, even though he's not different from the bunch. He's also one that has abused power and that has failed to use the opportunity given and thrown at his lap to better the lot of the people. But everything that he said, the question would be, where is the lie in it? The fact that Tinubu's mother, alleged mother now, rallied the Lagos women in support of Abacha, is that a record that can be erased? Of course, the facts are there for everybody to see. And the fact that Nadeko was not a June 12 thing, it was an after effect, if like they say in the movie, after Abacha took over. That is also a fact. The fact that Tinubu fled the country was also, if I don't forget, that he was elected a senator during the June 12 election. And of course, we all know how close he was to Babangida. He fled and became an activist after he left here. All of that are not in doubt. But you can also erase the fact that even though he fled, he was part of the people that ensured that the June 12 struggle did not die. So all of the facts, all of the history that Sonny Lamido has brought to fore are facts that cannot be erased. And the way that is now trying to, if they're not trying to glamorize that history or those facts to paint Tinubu blue or black as an attempt to damage his image ahead of the 2027 election is another thing that I cannot talk about because, of course, I was not in any of their meetings or any of their strategic meetings to determine how to bring down Tinubu. So if all of that is to bring down Tinubu is another thing. But if we are speaking to facts and history, those are facts.
Interesting. There has been a rebuttal from the presidency, but that will be a conversation for another day. Comrade Ayologun, human rights activist and public and political affairs analyst. We so much appreciate you, as always. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
And of course, this is about this great nation for Nigeria. You know, the Eagles or the Hawks, whatever they are, you know, they are gathering right now. And it will be, Nigerians are waiting if it will be about them. Femi Ojo is my name. We make a return tomorrow. Thank you for being part of the program today. God bless Nigeria.
And of course, thank you for staying with us. As always, join us again tomorrow for a fresh edition of Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Emeka Daniel is my name. Do have a wonderful day. Good morning.